Well, hey, friends, my name is Andrea. This is Journals for Breakfast. You are so welcome in this space. Thank you for being here. And oh my gosh, thank you so much for the beautiful comments after my last video. It really helped. I was definitely in a little bit of a wobble about kind of my role in this space and where I was going with it. And you guys just really sent some beautiful notes. I had some comments here on the YouTube channel, which I love because everybody can see those and chime in if they want to. But a lot of you messaged me also on Instagram. I have two accounts on Instagram. I'm Journals for Breakfast there, obviously, but I'm also a knitting chef. And some of you know me here through my knitting Instagram and messaged me there. So thanks. It just was really nice to hear from everybody. Um, I, yeah, I feel like our chat last week was so important. Authenticity day to day is something that I really strive for at this point in my life because I feel like I didn't even have an awareness that it was something that I was looking for a long time. I just was going with the flow. And what I mean by that is swept up in life. I don't mean that I was intentionally trying to be somebody that I'm not. I mean that life takes over and you are in a rush and you're flying out the door and you're trying to keep everything going, and before we know it, I was just functioning in high end survival mode for a long, long time. And I think that finding really true authenticity in that space is challenging because you're just trying to survive. That's really what matters more than anything else. I think that slowing the pace down as I have in the last few years has really given me the awareness that it was time to start sort of getting really true about my own voice and my own desires about what I share and what I put into this world. And I love that this space gives me a place to do that. So, a couple interesting things. One is that I have been working on a mission statement for my potential other online space. And I don't know if any of you own a business or have ever written a business plan, but part of writing a business plan is writing a mission statement. And I actually really enjoy that process. I think it's a fun thing. It's the creative writing part of writing a business plan, what you really, your intentions are with that space. And what I discovered as I was kind of piecing together the mission statement for this other space is that actually I write mission statements all the time and I read them often too. What on earth am I talking about? Well, like my description of this channel, I mean, that's basically a mission statement. So if you go and read the description here of who I am, there's a mission statement. Our bios on Instagram are our mission statement to some degree. And mine certainly is on Journals for Breakfast. It explains what I'm doing and why I'm sharing this. When I think about following another Instagrammer, the first thing that I read is their bio. I'm definitely interested in their mission statement. What is it that they are intending to put into this world by having this space opened up? And do I want to follow that? When I go to a new website for the first time, I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I click on, you click on the tab, just like scroll down and see what all the offerings are, their location, their hours, their class schedule, whatever it is, right? About us, I click on that. I always want to know about them. Who are they? Where are they from? What was their purpose in building this website and creating these services? So, mission statements, I think, are really fun. And I do think they'd be a really cool journaling practice to kind of maybe do one quarterly, do one seasonally, but kind of what is your mission, right? What is your mission statement? What are you trying to share in this space today, now? Yeah, I think it could be really cool. So, one of the ways that I kind of grounded myself again was to sort of just go back and reread my own mission statements about this space and what we're sharing. But you guys coming through and chatting with me about it too was a big part of that. It was really helpful and really fun. So, in the comments from last video, a lovely viewer mentioned to me Flow Magazine, FLOW. I'm going to show you their website real quick, more about Made by Flow. This is on their website. And these two, Astrid and Irene, are the ones who started the magazine. And it's a quarterly magazine that is available, as I understand it, in English, but they also do um, paper books, which they call paper books for paper lovers, but they also have paper book for food lovers. They have a bunch of different versions of them. But Book for Paper Lovers by Flow is a publication they put out at least once a year, but it looks like multiple times a year as well. And they are collections of just beautiful artwork, paper, stationery, lettering, et cetera, et cetera. And you use them to your heart's content. And I'm really excited about those. I did a lot of looking on the website to figure out how to order them and realized that really for us in the States, the simplest answer is that they do sell at Barnes and Noble. I don't think that my Barnes and Noble has them in, but I'm going to bring this website to them and see if they will get them ordered. Keep in mind when it comes to national chains like that, if one of them has it in stock, probably any of them can get it into stock pretty easily. So, I want to definitely take a look at that because we're going to look at a couple other paper books from Barnes and Noble today. And these are where I'm getting so much of my collage material from. And so we'll do an overhead with those because I have fallen down the rabbit hole of this autumnal journal that we talked about. I've been setting up these little pages for myself to just do journaling in and just having so much fun with the artwork. Just letting the collage speak and do its thing, and then I come back in and do some writing within it. This one says autumn. But pre-setting these pages has been my coffee break in the mornings. I wake up in the morning, get my coffee, I come back here and just settle in and just create a few of these beautiful pages to just journal into. And it has been so much fun. So I'm going to do an overhead with you guys, and maybe that'll give you some inspo to keep those autumn journals going. I know a lot of you responded that that really inspired you. You were like ready to get a seasonal, smaller journal going. And so here we are. I'm going to show you some of what I've been doing with that. We're going to take a look at these paper books from Barnes and Noble. And then I'm very excited to talk to mine about getting in Flow. I love that it's a small business. I love that it is women owned. So we're going to do our best to support that as well and try to get them to pull that in. But thank you for that recommendation because it's really exciting to know about. And let's see what else we want to share today. I'm going to do a little reading from Simple Abundance towards the end that I think is a really nice journaling prompt. I will tell you that her September entries have just been changing my life. I've been reading this as a daily reader since January 1 of this year. And we're deep into September now. And wow, so many of the readings have been quotable. So many of the readings have made me write down words or given me inspiration for journaling. Her September entries are like, they're just blowing my mind. They're so on point. Maybe it's just what I needed at just the right time. You know how that goes in life. That may be what's happening a little bit there. But yeah, I'm going to read a little bit of that from her because it's just been really cool. And I've been doing tarot pulls all month long. I haven't been doing like big tarot spreads in the mornings. Mostly what I've been doing is pulling one card from the Pocket Oracle spirit animal. And the animals that I've been pulling, that's also just been so spot on. It's so amazing. But one of the ones that I pulled was the beaver. And the beaver spirit said, keep your intention and energy consistent and deliberate. Self-understanding and acceptance will provide you with a solid blueprint to keep going. Yeah, is that just on the money? It's exactly what I needed to hear. Consistent, deliberate, self-understanding, keep going. Yeah, it was just, I've had a lot of those kinds of readings that have been really fun too. And, but yeah, I want to read Simple Abundance for some journaling inspo. But first, let's take a look at some pages and get some artwork inspo going. And then we'll talk about what we might want to write down in them. I'm so happy that you're here. And yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, so we talked a little bit last time about this autumn seasonal start of September journal that I started, and I just did it on a whim. I thought it'd be kind of nice to just sort of start anew as the weather was starting to cool. We were getting out of the just doldrums that are August here. And yeah, so I just got this little guy going, and I thought it'd kind of be nice. He's a smaller size, B6, not very big. I mean, there's my hand. You can see it's just not giant. And so I just started doing a little what I'd like to see in each day, some outlines for myself about what September can look like, maybe no social for a 30-day cleanse. And I have definitely pulled way back on Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff. Some meal ideas, some housekeeping concepts, projects room by room. The one room that I really put together was the master bedroom because it's got some really specifics, but I have a few others that need to get laid out there. Some reading goals for the remainder of the year, December specific, because I have some holiday reading goals this year, and then some special editions I'd like to collect. And then I skipped a few pages, and I just one morning came back here with some coffee and just went absolutely collage crazy. I all of a sudden just was in the mood to tear and stick paper. It'd been a little while since I'd done that, and it just felt like the right time. So I created this basic collage. So I did kind of all the borders and then tore out these letters. This was actually an O. There was only one U in the page of letters. I just tore the top off of the O to make it a U. And then slowly started filling in some journaling prompts here and there. I tied this little tie on and did a couple little stickers. Trust that now is the time. On these little tags. Yeah, just had a blast. And once this happened, I just couldn't stop what I was doing. So I went in and did some border stuff here, put in the mushroom stickers, and then I slowly filled in the journaling on these pages over the course of a few days. This didn't all happen at once. These were all blank. And I think, in fact, I actually filled out these three, and then I just came in and put this little quote in just this week, just a couple days ago. Yeah. So just did it in little bits and pieces. Sometimes what will happen in the morning is I'm doing a reading from Simple Abundance, and she'll say something in here that I feel like warrants writing down in here, or I'll pull a tarot card that has some wording on it that I feel like warrants writing down in here too. So that's kind of where I get those prompts. But the idea of just coming in and just creating the collage space to journal in started really exciting me. And all of a sudden, I was off to the races. So I've been just super drawn to foxes lately. I even bought a sweater that has a fox on it. It will be months before I can wear that sweater. But yeah, I've just been really drawn to foxes lately. This is just a piece of paper torn out and glued in the bottom of 2 pages. And it just makes such a nice little layout for some journaling here. This is a mishmash of stuff. There's some stickers, there's some toile. See, there's that little fox huddled up in there. I really like that one. This one, I just was layering and layering and layering, and then I've left a little flip up here, a little tip in, such as it is, so I can write a little note or prompt or something there. I might find a perfect sticker for the back of that. Yeah, washi tape, some marker, paper, torn up sticker. And then I don't know why I skipped these pages. I don't think it was intentional. This one is unusual for me because it's such clean lines, but I was really having fun with these paint chips. And what I'm going to do with this one is put a little tip-in postcard here that I can write myself a note on. Maybe it'll be a quote out of the book that I read this week. Maybe it'll be my own mission statement again. Who knows? Whatever it is my soul is needing to get onto paper, I'll do it. But I thought I would show you how I get those tip-ins in. I guess everybody has their own method, but this is what I do. And I do these in other places. I'm trying to think if I have any more in this book. So see, sometimes I just clip them in with these brass. I just punch a hole and then clip those in. In the case of these tags, I just punched a hole in everything and tied it on with some ribbon. This is an Archer and Olive journal, and their paper is like cardstock. It's really heavy duty. So that's really nice, but I will sometimes reinforce, like where I tied that, I reinforced it with a little washi tape up there. See what I'm saying? But I know I have other tip-ins. I just don't know why I'm not figuring out in my brain where they are right now. But I love these little guys, just putting a little card someplace, even on the edge, to fold over and make a little note to myself. Sometimes I add them before I write anything, like I am right now. Sometimes I feel like I have something that I've written and I want to keep it on a page, and then I'll just add it too. But basically, what I do is start with whatever my little decorative tape is, and then I'll probably reinforce this with some clear tape just because it's going to have to move around a little bit. And I've shown you guys this before. This is my bone folder. There are various versions of these out there. I don't actually know what this one is made out of, but I don't know. But I bought this because Martha Stewart Living magazine did a piece about card making in 1996. And I went crazy and called a shop in New York City that she recommended in the magazine and had them ship me this from their store. And I have had it ever since. So it's a really good quality one. But I have this little basket. This is a basket of beads that I made, but these are the washies that have just been most speaking to me lately. I think just because they are so kind of autumnal, fall, like these really cute mushrooms. And then the fern. And I love this black and white. It's just a good neutral in the background. This is kind of a moon and stars combo. That's pretty. Yeah, I've just been loving these. But this bronze rose gold, gosh, I feel like I can't use enough of this lately. I'm going to have to, I think I got this at Staples. So I'm going to have to grab me another roll of that because it keeps showing up in this book like mad. And that's what I'm going to start with here. So I'm just going to pick a spot where I want it. And I'm big on rough edges. Actually, I'm so big on rough edges that I don't want this. See how this has this perforated edge? I don't want that there. It looks too neat and tidy. It looks too kind of pulled out from the book. So I'm going to actually rough edge my rough edge. Look, we are who we are. Be true to yourself. Okay. So I'm going to take this and just stick it in that corner and then just run this little piece of tape here. And then I'll use this guy to kind of secure that down. The thing that's nice about washi is it's super movable, meaning removable. If I put this in and hated it, I can just peel it back off. It won't tear it. And then I'm going to do another piece on the back to reinforce that. Like so. And I'm using minimal pressure here. This is not crazy pressure. I'm probably going to need my smaller scissors, and I don't know where they are right now. She says, oh, I see them. They're in a cup over here. Hold on. I'm going to need these little snips because I'll come through and snip these edges a little bit. So that folds, pull that out. And now I just have this little tip in. And I can come back in here and write myself a little note, a quote. Maybe I'll put a sticker over here and a quote over here. But there it is. So this is now set up for some fun journaling. It's just ready to go. I have no idea why I skipped these pages. I don't think it was intentional. So I'll do some more stuff in there. But where am I getting all this stuff for all of this? Like I said, I'm really excited to check out Flow Magazine's paper books. I'm showing you a couple that I got at Barnes & Noble that are not Flow Magazine. P.S. Does she keep her scraps? Yes, she does. I mean, every scrap ever? No. So this is a tray that is full of bits and bobs, little pieces. And sometimes I come in and I actually bag them all up so that they are sort of cohesive, like everything that's black and floral could go into a little bag. But right now it's just a mess because I've been a collage and fool. This is a little tab that I pulled out, tag that I pulled out and then didn't use. Look at that. That'll be so good in a journal. Like, are you looking at me like, are you insane, woman? This will be so good. See, because this is the kind of thing that makes a nice little addition somewhere when you need, especially if stuff's been a little wacky and you're just needing a little bit of cleanliness in there. Those straight lines will do really well for that. So yeah, like I hang on to all kinds of little bits. Watercolors that weren't successful, I just tear up and just can use them for backdrop paper. So this little box usually has my little teeny trimmings. And then this tray just has larger bits and pieces, edges of things, whatever it may be. That's a nice edge off a piece of paper. Some washi that a pen pal sent me that I really like. My little paint chips are in there. This is an edge off of something that I stole, and like that would be great on there. That would be great on there with a little squirrel tag with a little note spot. Ta-da. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I keep all my little bits and pieces. And have a lot of fun with it. This tray was $1 at Target in their $1 section. Okay, these books, I got this one in January of this year. It's now September of this year, and it is still absolutely chock full of usable stuff. So what I'm going to tell you is, as far as supplies go for collage and creating some of this $30 investment at Barnes & Noble was worth every penny. As you can see, when I open up the front of it, look at all the scripts and scraps that are in here. This is all bits and pieces from this book over the last many months that I've been using, just tearing out little bits, little flower motif makes a pretty little backdrop somewhere. So I'm going to scooch this out so we can look at this book. Okay, so like this is 2 pages of stickers. If you want to do stickers, you can. These little invitation cards, I've loved these as tip-ins or clipping them in because I just think they're a fun thing to just write a little note to yourself on the back with. So those are really cool. The bookmarks I have been using as tip-ins also. I have not been using them as bookmarks. And then the paper, it's 2-sided often. So you're going to have to kind of sacrifice one side or the other. These are these big cardstock pieces that they recommend. You could even frame these if you wanted to do like a gallery wall. You could frame up those. And these pop out. These smaller ones, this piece will pop out. I'll tear that into 1,000 pieces. When you get into the pages of paper, this is one thing. Like if you want to tear up this botanical, you'll lose part of this one back here. But that's just the game. That's how it goes. I wonder what I took out of this one. Look. Oh, that border of roses. And I really like this big botanical that's on this side. So yeah, you'll have to just sort of pick a side that you love, tear a little piece out or whatever you want to do with it. I mean, you can just use it as it is. It's beautiful stationery. These pages are perforated. So if you do want to just tear that out as stationery and just use it, you can, and just send somebody a nice letter, maybe you, little bits and bobs. That should go in the bits and bobs pile. Yeah, I have really loved this book. Look how much of this book is still sitting here, totally available. And I've been working out of it since January. It's now September, late September. So did I need another book? No, because that one had plenty, but look at this book. So this was Enchanted Forest, and I was doing this wonderful autumnal theme. So, I had to go for it. Also $30, but this one has even more in it than that other one did. Look at these beautiful cards. So if you just wanted to send somebody a postcard, you could easily. I typically, as you know, use those to write myself a note of some kind. This is pages of stickers. That's where I got the mushroom stickers to do this mushroom spread that's here. These mushroom stickers came out of this book. And then these were edges of paper that came out of this as well. These little tags, that's what that squirrel was that I showed you a minute ago. There's that fox. How cute is that? And so, as you know, I tend to like to put these together. Like I might write a little quote here, put a little sticker here, tie these two together and put them into something. This one they all have pages of letters, but it's like, this is A through, I think it gets you there. Yeah, it does, but there's no repeat letters. So like when I did autumn and use those letters, like I said, I had to tear the top off of the O to get a second U because there's only one U in the alphabet, and these letter pages only give you the alphabet one time. Does that make sense? I think it does. You understand what I'm saying? There's not repeats of them. So here, this autumn page, these letters, that was the O. I tore the top off. Okay. This one has some pullouts for you. Oh, wrapping paper is what they called this. Paper Love wrapping paper. And that's got that squirrel pattern on it. And then this beautiful woodland. I really like that. I will not use that for wrapping paper. I mean, maybe I would, but I really buy these solely to tear up and stick onto other stuff. That's my bag. That's what I do. I love it. Now, see, you have to sacrifice one side or the other to decide which side you're going to go with. There's more. Oh, this one had this really big poster in the back. Like if you wanted to frame this, you could frame this poster. Look at this thing. And honestly speaking, I don't know that I will tear this up. This is a pretty nice piece. I may just leave it be for now. I don't know what I'll do with it. But Paper Love, this is Enchanted Forest. This was Botanical Collection. They have 4 or 5 more there now too that I've seen. And then I am going to go ask them about Flow because I'm curious, you know, and again, I would love to be supporting women-owned small business, these 2 gals, and learn more about their actual Flow magazine, which is quarterly. So I thought I'd share that, and we'll see what we can find together on that. Yeah, I kind of went collage crazy in September, and I even ended up doing a lot of collage in my, not a lot, but some collage in my Hobonichi, which is unusual. This is not a space that I normally do much sticker or collage work, but you can see what these are. They're just little bits of pieces of paper that just created this little border for me in my Hobonichi. So I will always find a place to put a little paper on paper joy, a little collage time. It's just what I really love. That is kind of a little collage. Like it's just adding stickers to the back of some watercolor paper. So I hope that gives you some inspiration in the idea of setting up some journaling pages that are ready to just write some quotes in. And now let's take a look at this September. Let's see, Simple Pleasures, because the readings in this month have been incredible. They've just been amazing. In fact, just as an overhead while we're here, I will show you, like, see all that, look at all the highlights and exclamation points. I love this. She just has given me so many things to think about this month. She's just been really, this month has for some reason just really spoken to me. It's been right where my head is. So we're going to read September 24th, Authentic Success together. We'll do that in a face-to-face. Okay, so I hope that was inspirational. I'm showing you this backdrop here. The tray that I showed you that was from Target, that's right here. Right? So if you've wondered what all this mishmash of paper is, you kind of know now. Like those are the Barnes and Noble books. This is just loose stationery. These are bits and bobs. Packets of stickers. Yeah, just stuff. So that's what's there. Let's straighten this out a little bit. And then we're going to take a look at this reading. Oh, I want to mention really quickly, this is the glue that I use. I get 4 packs of these on Amazon, and I've really been happy with this glue. It goes on and just everything grabs. It just grabs and sticks. So if that's what, if you're wondering what I use to stick everything down, this glue. And what I'll do is just put like a little index card or a piece of paper down and then just rub glue all over it so I don't get it all over my table. Does that make sense? I think it does. So those little sticks, and then I use this Scotch, I've shown this before, gift wrap tape. It goes on crystal clear. Sometimes, I mean, what I love about collage is the tactile nature of it. I love how it feels. But in reality, so like I love just like how that feels. But in truth, if it's in my Hobonichi, if it's in my planner, or if I find that it's snagging constantly, I sometimes have to put some clear tape over it. We're going to do a little update on the Passport, my little pocket brain. And if you've seen the books, I'm sorry I don't have any here right now. The books that I do in that, I often put clear tape over those because my hands are all over them all day, in and out, in and out. And yeah, it just protects them, but it goes on crystal clear. So it doesn't take away from the color or anything like that. But I don't know, it makes them glossy, I guess is what I'm saying, which is not my actual intention or goal. Sorry. Straighten y'all out there. Um, let's do a quick reading for some inspo and a couple things about this book. So, Simple Abundance, it's been out for a bajillion years. I never heard about it through Oprah and the people that actually launched this out back in the day. Of course, Sandy by the Lakeside, who I mention here often. That is actually her podcast or vlogs, is where I heard about this. And so I bought myself a copy last year and started it January 1st of this year. And I've absolutely loved it. She does a reading, or there's a writing every day that you can read. And then at the end of the month, she does a joyful simplicities for the month, or kind of a lineup for the month. What I've discovered is that I actually like to read that section first. So the beginning of October, I'll go to the end of October and read her little write up about October, then go back to day one October and start reading through from there. I'm not sure why these are at the end of the chapter, because they feel to me like the beginning of the chapter, but maybe it's just the way the publisher decided to lay them out or something. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you that little tip. And September 24th was a reading. All month I've just been like, oh my gosh, underline, underline, exclamation point, get out a card, write down a quote from the readings. Like, it's just been speaking to me. But the September 24th one really spoke to me. And I think based on what we talked about last video, I think you'll kind of understand why. September 24th, the title of this reading is called Authentic Success. Um, okay. We must all pay with the current coin of life for the honey that we taste. Authentic success is different for each of us. No single definition fits all, because we come in all sizes. One autumn afternoon years ago, while wandering through an abandoned cemetery, I discovered a wonderful definition of authentic success inscribed on the headstone of a woman who died in 1820. Quote, the only pain she ever caused was when she left us. That's so precious, by the way. That brings a little tear to my eye. Um, Authentic success is having the time enough to pursue personal pursuits that bring you pleasure, time enough to make the loving gestures for your family you long to, and time enough to care for your home, tend to your garden, and nurture your soul. Authentic success is never having to tell yourself or those you love, maybe next year. Authentic success is knowing that if today were your last day on earth, you could leave without regret. Authentic success is feeling focused and serene when you work, not fragmented. It's knowing that you've done your best that you possibly could, no matter what the circumstances you faced. It's knowing in your soul that the best you can do is all you can do, and that the best you can do is always enough. Authentic success is accepting your limitations, making peace with your past, and reveling in your passions so that your future may unfold according to the divine plan. It's discovering and calling forth your gifts and offering them to the world to help heal its ravaged heart. It's making a difference in other lives and believing that if you can do that for just one person each day through a smile, a shared laugh, a caress, a kind word, or a helping hand, blessed are you among women. Um, Authentic success. One of the things about this is she says that it's having time enough to pursue personal pursuits that bring you pleasure. One thing I'll say about authenticity is that I never was living in a way that wasn't authentic intentionally. Like, I didn't wake up and try to be somebody I wasn't. I didn't wake up and try to not be Andrea today or be some version of Andrea that wasn't real or true. But I was living in a way that was in survival mode. And when we are in hardcore survival mode, I think authenticity slips, because if authenticity is found in finding the time to pursue our personal pleasures, that doesn't happen when we're in survival mode. Um, and I hope that this journaling practice and this concept of starting our day without phones, without computers, without screens, but instead with pen and paper, or with paper and paper, or with a tarot deck, or with a daily devotional, or some sort of reading, that if we find that time, even if it's just for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but if it's how you start your day, you are anchoring that day in authenticity and anchoring that day in finding the time to pursue the pleasures that most support and fulfill you. At different times in our lives, that's going to look different. I am at a very lucky time in my life right now. We've recently closed our business. I'm finding more time every moment to pursue more of my pleasures. However, 5 or 6 years ago, when the burnout was so intense and I didn't see a way out, I owned this business that I did not feel that I could walk away from. I felt trapped and our schedule felt untenable, but I also didn't know how to get out of it. The reality is, I still found this time. In fact, not still, I found this time as a cure for that time. That situation wasn't going to change right away, but I could change what I did with the first 10 minutes of my day. I could change what I did with the first half an hour of my day. And that's where I had to start. That small, tiny, just give myself that little bit of space to start hearing that authentic voice of my own coming forward again, giving her room to breathe, letting her out into the world. Yeah, it was really important as I started to fight through the burnout. I know that some of you are in a position where the kids are a certain age, the business is a certain age. There is no walking away from any of it right now. But can you find that little pocket? It does not have to be an entire day. Somebody asked me one time about intentional living, and they said, yeah, but like, what are you going to do? Just pack up and go to a monastery and just chant for a month? Um, Here's what I say about finding intention in your days: little sips all day long. If I told you that you need to stay hydrated and the way to do that is to drink a gallon of water a day, but you had to drink the gallon of water from 115 to 125, you have 10 minutes to get it down. What? No, you're going to take sips of water all day long. If you start drinking water by having a few sips the minute your feet hit the floor and continue this, every 30 minutes throughout the day, you will get your gallon of water in. You don't have to make it everything for 30 minutes. And it's the same with intentional living. We don't have to find time to meditate for 30 minutes 3 times a day. If you can, cool. Most of us cannot. But little sips of intention, and where do they come from? 5 minutes with your journal in the morning, a devotional reading. Leave your phone home when you go walk your dog. You're in a neighborhood. You are okay. If you trip and fall, there is probably somebody behind you who's going to help you get up. You don't need a phone for that. You're going to be okay. But that 5 minutes of walking without looking at the phone, without hearing the phone or feeling the phone, there's your sip. There's your little sip of intention. Um, Traffic's backed up. You have no idea what's happening, but there's a line of cars and you're at a dead stop. That's a great opportunity to turn everything off. Turn off the radio, turn off the audible, sit quietly in the car, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth 4 or 5 times, maybe do a box breathing right there in that traffic that you did not know you were going to be stuck in. And it gave you an opportunity for a little sip of intention. They're little bits, and my gosh, do they add up? They've cured me in a lot of ways. And they also set me on the path to realize that I needed enough of it that eventually, 5 years later, it was time to close the business and move on and try some other things. What I did at my business was not inauthentic. I adore what I shared in that space and the connections that I made there. But the way that I worked was not very authentic. I was broken in my thinking about how hard I needed to work and how much I needed to put out into the world. And this has softened that incredibly for me. And I am now at a place where I don't feel that need to be a workaholic. I don't define myself as that anymore. And for a while I did and was proud of it. I mean, I really clung to it. That's not where I find authenticity. Her last sentence for this reading is: authentic success is living each day with a heart overflowing with gratitude. And I feel that so very much. It's just incredible what we are asked to face in this world, hour by hour, day by day. But it's also amazing what we get through, the success rate that we have, and how much just absolute beauty there is to support us through that as well. And if you can't find it just around you, you might have to make it. Surround yourself with it. I've been going nuts on knitting podcasts again. I just am settling into that space. And I took a sewing class yesterday, which broke my brain. I don't know about you guys. Sewing is exhausting to me. It is so tiring. So many of the crafts that I do don't wear me down, but sewing wears me out. But we're making a top. I'll try to wear it in a video down the road. um, it's just slowing my pace down and reminding myself that there is not a rush right now. I know that's not true for everybody in this moment in time. For me right now, it is true. I will say this though: if you find yourself rushing all the time, do you ever stop and say, Is this just habit? Am I really in a hurry in this moment? Because I realized how habitual my rush brain was. It just believed that if we hit the floor running, this is what we have to do next, and then we do this, and I have to like, you are not in a hurry. You do not need to drink this protein shake in 7 seconds. It can take half an hour. You're going to be okay. I have to really remind myself about that too. But that's the point of these practices. That's the point of these journals. They ground us, they give us the place to take that breath, to remind ourselves, to write down some quotes that remind us to anchor ourselves in our authenticity and to find that space every day if we can find a way. So that's my ramblings for this week. Um, I have, I am pretty sure I'm not getting another Hobonichi. So I'll do a little vid. Let's do an update on the traveler's passport. I got my new calendar in and I've got some new collage going on in there. Let's do an update on planners, what it is I think I'm going to do next up on that. So that'll be the next video. And if you have any very specific requests for me about things that I'm talking about or not talking about, resources or otherwise, let me know. I will tell you that I listed in the description of my last video two YouTubers that I think are very authentic spaces on YouTube. One of them is True Path Tarot. And I'll link her again today in this video. I love listening to her 8 o'clock post. She does a 3 card tarot reading. Maybe it's even 5. Anyway, it's really nice to listen to. Um, so I'll link her. But yeah, if you have questions for me about resources or otherwise, just let me know. And yeah, sewing class yesterday broke my brain. I go back tomorrow to try to finish this blouse. Have lunch with a dear friend today who just got back from a long trip to China. He's been home for a few weeks now, which I kind of, when my friends come back from international travel, they're like, hey, do you want to get together tomorrow? I'm like, how about in 14 days? Like I'm secretly quarantining them. I just want to make sure after you like hit 13 time zones that you didn't walk off that plane with some new strain of something. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, he's been back a few weeks, so I think it's safe to meet him for a bagel today and hear all about his trip to China. I'm curious about that. And yeah, he's a good friend that actually he's in the food business as I am was. He knows a lot about burnout and workaholism, and so we both have been on a path to try to find some authenticity. And his trip to China actually was about that. He practices kung fu, and they went on a tour of like all the really great kung fu schools and then simultaneously the temples that were associated with them. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear about his journey too. Anyway, rambling on. I will see you guys next time. Let's talk about why I'm not doing Hobonichi. That's it. I'm not talking anymore. Find your authentic self wherever you can. Authentic success is in living each day with a heart overflowing with gratitude. And I feel that very much right now. I hope you do too. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you guys soon.